I didn't actually pick the topic of this video. A loop did. Every morning, this loop runs the keyword radar skill, and it looks for keywords on YouTube that have a high chance of breaking out, and it sends me these topics. And it actually came up with loop engineering today. It's got a few other super interesting topics. But yeah, pretty interesting. The loop actually found itself. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how you actually use loop engineering and one rule that stops it from just burning all of your tokens. So what exactly is loop engineering? Everyone's talking about it. Is it just a lot of hype? And are people actually using it correctly? Now, loop engineering is, in a nutshell, basically running a set of skills or an agent on a schedule. Some people might just call it a cron job, but I think it's a lot more than that. So the honest take, many people are just going to call this a cron job because it's basically agentic skill on a schedule. And we've seen a lot of hyped terms, but they're still pretty important. And we've seen prompt engineering, context engineering, harness engineering, and now we've got loop engineering. So basically every term has the word engineering behind it, and everything, everyone loses their mind. And in my opinion, there's still a lot more to it than the hype. Now here's the one rule that actually matters. Loop engineering only earns its tokens when it's pointed to a smart goal that is either directly or indirectly tied to money. And a smart goal actually means it has to be specific. You have to be very precise about what you want to achieve. Measurable, meaning you can actually track the results. Achievable, it has to be realistic. Relevant, it has to be something to do with what you're trying to achieve. And then time bound, so meaning you give it a certain time period where it has to achieve it. So maybe 1 day, 30 days, a year. That's time bound. Now, a bad goal, for example, would be, hey, I just want to get more customers for my app, or want to get more users for my app. And then you run a loop on that, and you're going to burn a massive amount of tokens doing it with that approach. It's going to be a token furnace. Now, a good goal, a smart goal would actually be, hey, I want to increase my click-through rate on YouTube from 1 to 4% in 30 days. Help me achieve that. Once the skill actually works, here are the 5 parts that turn it into a loop. So you've got the trigger, which is a schedule or event. You've got the work tree in its own Git branch, making sure that everything is safe and can work in parallel. This is also something that I use when I've got agentic swarm workflows. Then you've got the skill, which in our case would be the YouTube keyword radar. It's something that you've tested a lot. It's a workflow, skills plus Python, maybe MCP, and it's not a raw prompt. It's definitely not a raw prompt, because a raw prompt will burn your tokens. Then you need the verification step. In my case, I'm using the reality check skill that's in my GitHub, and the reality check verifies that what Claude says is done is actually done. And afterwards, as a last step, it actually saves a state. And the state means what it did, and it tracks all of this information so it can actually learn on every loop. So when it does the loop again, it knows what it did the last time. It's going to maybe try other things. So before you actually build a loop, ask yourself, is the goal that I'm actually trying to achieve, is it a smart goal? Do I already have a really hardened set of skills that are tied to that goal? And if yes, is it actually worth the tokens to spend on it? Write in the comments down below if you want the spec recipe for the YouTube trend radar, and then I'm going to push it to GitHub.